Good morning. How you guys doing? What's up? Karibuni sana to the program. Glad you are still with us. In case you are just joining us, this is Good Morning Kenya. I'm Jain Wambui. I'd love to know where you are watching us from, so feel free to check in using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Leave a location. I will be sending out love in not too long. Big shout out going out to Tans Kolo. I see Emmanuel Kime, Michael Kamau. Thank you for the follow. Rono Wences, thank you so much for tuning in. Kelvin Mongai, retweeting all our feeds. Mokanzi Albert Luvembe, thank you so much for being with us this far. And of course, Miss Mo. Thank you all so much. Do keep talking to us. Remember, today we are celebrating the International Women's Day, 110 years later. And just looking at some stats that was put out by the World Health Organization, not the World Health Organization, pardon me, the United Nations, is that there are only 22 women heads of state or government across the world. And looking at the current trends, it would take us 130 years to actually achieve gender equality if we do not accelerate some of the efforts that we are putting in place to help this become a reality. So what more do we need to do as a population to just make sure that gender equality is not a problem that we are still dealing with, an issue that was a very big issue back 110 years ago when this day was officially celebrated back in 1911. Well, today we continue with this conversation with women leaders from different spaces, different parts across the country. And joining us right now, we are having, joining us via Zoom, we have Professor Jerono Rotich, who is the CEO and founder of KBC. Good morning, Professor. How are you doing?
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being with us this morning. We do appreciate you for making time. We'd like to just, absolutely, today as we celebrate International Women's Day, we just want to understand how your journey has been getting to where you are today. And maybe we could just start with, tell us a bit about your current space, you know, what you do there as the CEO and founder of KBC.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, and happy Women's Day, happy International Women's Day to all my sisters, to all the women across the globe. I am calling in from North Carolina, United States. And from here, it's really a great opportunity and it's an honor to celebrate with everybody. So as we can see from the theme of this day, it's really an opportunity to celebrate the achievements that we've accomplished. Mm-hmm. So what I do in North Carolina, actually, I wear so many hats, and I'm going to go through this real quick.
Absolutely. Feel free.
I totally believe that leadership starts from home. Uh-huh. So I am a mother. I am a proud mother of two lovely girls who are adult children, 26 and 23, and they have actually assumed leadership roles in their own ways. So from that aspect of it, I think I've done a great job raising wonderful and beautiful girls who are making a difference in the community in the United States. I am also, I could tell you this, I'm also a survivor of domestic violence and sexual assault. So that is my journey, and that is what led me to develop the Warrior and KBC. Additionally, I serve as a department chair at one of the universities in North Carolina. It's actually one of the largest departments in the college, where I oversee 5 different programs, faculty, and I'm the only African faculty in the department, as well as the chair. Mm-hmm. I'm also the president of KESA, which is Kenya Scholars and Studies Association. It's an international association that brings together Kenyan scholars from across the globe. And we come together, we have conferences. We're actually hosting our 13th annual conference in September. Yes. In Dallas. We also publish. We have a journal, we publish, and we do monthly. We have a lot of activities going on where we mentor faculty as well as students. And then, as you said, I am the CEO and founder of a Warrior. Actually, Warrior stands for Women and Youth. So under the youth, I have the KBC, which is Kenya Students in Diaspora. And actually, this is an organization that I started a few years ago, but we actually did more when COVID started, because there was a gap and there was a lot of challenges that our international students were facing in this space. So when COVID started, as you are aware, in this United States, everything closed, everything locked down.
Yeah.
So the university closed, and our students, international students, did not have a place to go. Additionally, our international students can only work on campus. When that space was closed, then it became a challenge. So I brought together community leaders, the organization in the state of North Carolina, and I brought together different leaders from the United States, from the Kenyan community and Friends of Kenyans, and we were able to raise funds to support international students during the COVID. Under the women and youth, under the women, it's actually it's a registered organization where I empower women. It is registered in North Carolina as well as in Kenya. So I'm doing work in Kenya as well as work in the United States. I've also served as a commissioner on the status of women in my county. I actually served for 2 terms and I just exited that position. And then I am the commissioner. I'm a commissioner of research and publications at UNESCO. This is a collective consultation that was established in UNESCO. And I represent the United States. We're only 5 commissioners worldwide. We are 2 women, one of the 2 women. And then across the board, I am a community leader where I sit on different boards. We have a Global Diaspora One Voice Consortium in the United States and across diaspora, where I am the leader of the education, youth, and student sector. I'm also a board member for Kenya Diaspora Alliance, that brings together diasporans together. And then I'm on the National Executive Board of Kenya Christian Fellowship. These are Christians or people of faith in the United States. Mm-hmm. And then I'm the former president of Kataka Foundation. And then I'm a board advisor, this is the fun part, board of advisors for Catch Foundation Kenya. This is an organization where we partner with Wellness for Greatness. It's a Kenyan NGO that is collaborating with a Catch Foundation that is based in Texas, with the Kenya Ministry of Education, Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, and Nairobi City. And we're working together to develop the curriculum base, adopt the curriculum, and enhance the health and fitness curriculum in Kenya. So those are a lot of some of the things that I do.
I am telling you, that is what we call an actual intro. That is what we call an intro. All that was just the different hats that she gets to wear in the different spaces that she finds herself in. Now, I'd like for us to get into this conversation about International Women's Day, and more so looking at this theme about women in leadership, achieving an equal future in a COVID-19 world. And we'd like to understand your journey. Could you just take us back to, how life was growing up and what role you feel that has played towards who you are today in the various capacities that you hold?
Thank you so much for that question. So I grew up in the village. Actually, I grew up in the Marakwet. Mm-hmm. And the person who made the most difference in my life is my mother.
Yes.
She was also a leader, a counselor at the location level. So my mother and my parents, I saw a woman who was a role model to me. She mentored me. And then alongside my mother, I had great mentors who held me, who held my hand. I have PS, Dean Dr. Mwensi, Professor Kamar. Ida Odinga was my teacher at Kenya High School. So I've had a lot of people. When I look back, it is actually the teachers who are in my life who mentored me, because who would have known that a little girl village would actually go to Kenya High School, Kenyatta University, now in the United States, and an administrator representing the United States at UNESCO. So when I look back at that, it was the women who were in my life, my mother, and of course, most importantly was God, because I am a woman of faith. Mm-hmm. I trust God, and I believe in prayer, and I thank God the foundation that I had, that my life and my journey has come this far.
All right.
So after I graduated,
yes.
So after I graduated, through my journey from Kenya High School to Kenyatta University, Kenya Science Teachers College, where I taught. I also coached the Singora girls before teaching at Kenya Science Teachers College. And then I came to the United States. I've been here for 25 years. It's been a long time.
Ooh. Now, just looking at, you've gotten the opportunity to experience different cultures in various leadership capacities. Looking at those spaces, has being a woman ever been used against you? Oh, all right. We'll be getting back with Professor Jerono in a bit. Our Zoom ime appear to catch a feeling, as or rather it's excited today as we are celebrating the International Women's Day. I believe we are back. Professor, can you read me loud and clear?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right. Now, getting back to what I was asking you, you've gotten the opportunity to interact with different cultures, different spaces, and also in various leadership capacities. Looking at how far you've come, has being a woman ever been used against you in these spaces?
Yes, it has been used against me in so many ways. Mm-hmm. So, especially when you're in another country, so you have various challenges that you're dealing with. One is the gender, one is the accent, and then your skin color. So all those things have actually been triple, and they've been challenges. But because I look at myself as a resilient young girl who has never let anything stop me, so what I did was, any space that I entered, I made sure I did way more than was required. And that's what I tell people, especially when you're outside the country. They judge you very differently. You're female, you have an accent, and you're Black. So then what I ended up doing was, whenever you put in any space, you have to prove yourself above and beyond. So for example, when I came here, I finished my studies. When I had to go through the tenure process from being an instructor to an assistant professor to associate professor to the rank of full professor, and now where I'm an administrator at a university, I had to do way above and beyond to prove myself. But when I look back at my journey, I said, I'm gonna let them stop me. I have come from so far, and I have the good Lord behind me. So it was not an easy journey, and that is why I do what I do right now, because I want to mentor somebody. I want to tell somebody, if I could do it, you can do it. I want to hold their hand, mentor them.
Yes. Now, just looking at some of what our viewers are saying, they are absolutely loving your regalia today. They love the African theme going on, saying Mama is representing us out there. That is Susan on Twitter. And this brings me to that whole aspect of culture. As a people, looking at our cultural setup, it is mostly very patriarchal, and you find women given opportunities is such a rare event. How can we work with keeping up with our culture, still embracing our roots and who we are, but also take on some of these gains that are set to benefit all of us as a people, but just empowering our women better?
Yes, thanks for asking that question. It was actually interesting because I remember when my kids were young. Yeah. Because culture was looked at very differently. I remember my kids telling me, Mommy, don't wear those clothes when you come to see us. They're like, you're embarrassing us. So I said, no, I'm going to embarrass you even more now. So I actually started putting on my clothes even more. Everywhere I went, I represented my culture, and I'm not ashamed of that. So eventually they actually realized, and actually my kids now tell me they want to come to Kenya to learn the language because they don't know it. They like the Kenyan food. But because of that, they have that identity that they're Kenyan, that they're African. So it's now that they appreciate, and actually here in the United States, we do a lot of things. We celebrate our culture. For example, in July, we had one voice, one celebrating one culture. I serve UNESCO. I'm on UNESCO, and actually I'm on the commission of the World Traditional Sports that was actually started in Turkey. So I'm on that commission. What we do there is we want to embrace and develop our traditional sports and games, especially during this time of COVID, where we all know that we got to stay healthy, we got to exercise, we got to keep moving, we got to participate in. But what has happened is once we came to this country, we've lost our culture. We've lost everything. So we're trying to bring those, say, yes, we can actually embrace, we can play our games, we can embrace our traditions, because those ones make us very unique. And what I love with our university is, well, it's actually one of their missions is to develop leaders and practitioners who are global leaders, who will actually go there to transform the community. So that is one of the reasons I like my institution, because they actually focus on global readiness. And a few years back, I remember actually it was interesting because I traveled to China and I met Professor Kamal there. At that time, she was the Minister for Education. So I was there establishing some global understanding programs where I was teaching students from the United States, and we were connecting with students from China, from India, from Senegal. I tried to do the same connection with Kenya. It was just not successful. They were not embracing, and they did not give us that opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I've actually gone beyond and across the board to bring the culture into our classrooms, into the United States classroom, by connecting them to outside the globe. So we are doing what we can do to promote that. And as a Kenyan community here, we continue to do that at different spaces, through different organizations. So yes, we are Kenyan. We love our culture. And I have not forgotten every bit of it. I can speak my language, I can do everything.
All right.
I've been gone for I'm still Kenyan, and I love Kenyan.
Absolutely.
I love my people.
When we finish this conversation, you will be saying goodbye in your mother tongue. Now, you have mentioned issues to do with leadership, and it's well in line with the theme for this year about women in leadership. We also find not so many women present themselves for these opportunities if they are there. How then do we encourage more women to take up positions of leadership and positions that actually have influence when it comes to decisions on matters that affect women on a very direct basis?
I like the quote that, let me see if I can find it. Michelle Obama says that we can do anything that we want to do.
Yeah.
So I tell women, do not shy away from those positions, especially in this country. It can be very traumatizing because you're standing in front of people. You have an accent. They look at you. They're like, what is she telling us? And that has never stopped me. I say, if you don't understand my language, I can write it down. But that has never stopped me, because I tell them, we got to be ready for change. We got to embrace change. We have to accept and adapt to the new normal. So I came to this country. This is my new normal. This is my country. My children are born here. My children will live here. I don't know if I can get them to come to Kenya. So therefore, I have to adapt here and I have to make a living here. I worked so hard. I pay taxes here. So therefore, I have equal rights and equal opportunity. Mm-hmm. As long as I have my qualifications. So I tell women, take advantage of those positions, prepare your skills. I tell them, please make sure you develop a mobile resume. That means a mobile resume is you can go anywhere. You can switch jobs. Sometimes people are so stuck in one place, they are not retooling their skills. So therefore, it makes it difficult for them to transition to another position. Now, I remember one of my good mentors, she said that, and I love this lady to death. She's actually a chancellor of one of the universities. And she said, don't burn the bridges before you cross over. So we've come a long way. I've used those bridges to build me. I've used those mentors. I've used those skills that I learned all the way from Kenya to build me. So don't burn those bridges. Use those as your tools. Use those as your strength. Or when you cross over, don't burn in it. When you get over, don't cross those bridges that you've crossed. So don't burn the bridges before you cross them, or the bridges behind you. Don't forget the bridge that brought you over. I've come a long way. I've been mentored. I've been brilliant. So I never forget the bridge that has brought me to this country. And don't be afraid to cross bridges. Don't be afraid. They're going to be tough. They're going to be high. They're going to be low. But don't be afraid to cross those bridges. If you're scared, get somebody to hold your hand. Get a mentor. Get somebody to pray you through. So don't be afraid to cross those bridges. And then the last thing that I love the most is, if they don't give you a seat, bring your folding chair. We have folding chairs here.
Walk around with it if you must.
I'm going to bring my chair right there at the table. I'm going to sit beside you until you give me a position.
All right. Now, as we draw this particular conversation to a close, I'd like for us to talk about issues to do with violence and the different forms in which it presents itself in, looking at the space where women are in leadership positions. You know, during COVID-19, issues to do with sexual violence was a crisis, at least here in our country. So what of in leadership positions? How would you advise women to go about handling such cases to do with violence, especially in these positions of power?
You know, that is a very touching point. Issues of violence was not only a problem in Kenya. We had that issue across, even in the United States. We've actually had women killed. We've had women abused. We've had women hurt. And as a survivor of domestic violence, I'm very passionate about this topic. So what we tell women is, what we tell our leaders is, let's advocate, and that's why I call myself an advocate, a champion of women, because being there, done that, it hurts. It's So let us not underestimate this. Let's support women who are going through this. You know, change your new normal. I call myself, you know, when I went through what I went through, I embraced my new normal. I was able to reach out for help, counseling, support. So let us support women. Let us support, and also there are men who are abused. There are also men who are abused. So regardless of who is going through what, let's support one another as leaders. Let us create those programs, those support programs for these people. Let us give them some of them, for example, whoever the partner is abused, they're not able to move on. I know of a few ladies, they're not able to move on because they don't have the skills to get a job, to get something to move on to the next level. So as we talk about women, let's create those environments, those conducive environments. Let's create those policies that also give them an opportunity to get up and move. You know, I remember, and I'm going to tell you this story, when I was going through a very difficult time here, I remember my instructor saying, I was doing my PhD, they said, you know what, you have so much going on, you're here with children, you can't handle it, I think you need to go back to Kenya. And I was like, whoa, this is not going to happen. I remember I collapsed. And I remember one teacher up to today, I'll never forget his name. He picked me up and he said, kiddo, get up. Every time I sleep, I hear that voice. When I hear that voice saying, kiddo, get up, I get up and move. So I needed somebody like that to say, kiddo, get up, we can do this. And he held my hand, he mentored me, and he enabled me to be here today. If it was not for that professor,
yes,
I would not have been here. So let us be that hand. Let's be a hand to somebody who's struggling. We all need one another. We all need each other.
All right.
So let us pray each other through and let us support one another. The success of every woman should be the inspiration to another. We should raise each other up. Make sure you are very courageous, be strong, be extremely kind, and be supportive to one another.
All right. Now, maybe what will be your closing message to our gentlemen who are watching us this morning and they are not sure as to how to celebrate and encourage women when it comes to taking up positions of leadership and just generally this whole conversation about gender equality and helping our women get to where they hope to get to with these barriers set aside? And maybe you can finish by saying goodbye in your mother tongue.
Thank you so much. So and by the way, I have 7 brothers. So I was,
Speak to them this morning.
So I have 7 brothers and my 1 sister. So I've been around men all my life, and and they celebrated me. So every day we should really be celebrating each other every day, supporting one another. So our brothers and sisters there, behind it, they always say that behind every successful man, there is a lovely and wonderful woman behind you. We are here to support you. We are the backbone. So support us and we'll support you. When we succeed together, then the entire family succeeds. So let us celebrate one another. Let us support one another. Just embrace one another, pray one another through, and let's work together, because at the end of the day, it is for the good of a family, for the children, especially when there are children involved. They see what you're doing, they see what each one of us are doing. And when we succeed together as a family, then our children succeed, and our nation succeeds, and our economy and everything is changed all over. So we ought to do that, celebrate one another, embrace one another. And thank you so much. Kongoi mising amacha agat mama nenyunde demite gapoi, amacha agat chorondok chungolo mite, amacha agat tigitupche, kongoi mising ogoto kogobe kor. Lakini nguno kiborye gengoli kiborye kasit ak kiborye galekab corona. So kongoi mising achomok mising akongoribok Jehova wetun kituye. Sere.
Kongoi. Thank you so much. We have been speaking with Professor Jerono Rotich, who is a woman that wears very many titles, but for the purpose of this conversation, she is the CEO and founder of KBC, joining us all the way from North Carolina. Thank you so much. All the best in your journey.